Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms. I'm joined here by superfan Devin Circus and Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast, and this is week seven's preview show of Jungle Talk. I know, there you go, gets a nod. So make some noise for some. I know there's not a lot of people that listen on Spotify, but there are some. So before I forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Support the channel. Hit the thumbs up so you know when our videos come out, and definitely give us the thumbs up. On the YouTube video itself, because that helps us out with the YouTube analytics. And Jake runs some amazing podcasts. Jake, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Jake Circus Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. Going to three episodes, or not YouTube, going to three episodes a week now. We'll have NFL on Monday, Jesus, college football on Wednesday, and then an NFL betting show on Tuesdays. Now we're adding that Tuesday afternoons. We had our picks due last week, Mark. Oh, we
Yeah,
talked about it on the
2-0. Yeah, you
yeah,
went
2
2
and
and
0.
0. So
2-0.
looking for a couple winners this week. Always good. So listen, you get those at the end of the show, so stay tuned. And like I said, it's hey, one of them LSU was a dog, weren't they?
Yeah. Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
to get a money line them. So there you go. It's all good. So let's just jump right in. It's a light news week. I mean, other than Amari Cooper getting shipped off to Buffalo, kind of is a nice sign for Cleveland. I mean, that they're
Yeah.
already kind of moving around. I hear rumors about Myles Garrett. Do you think they actually moved Myles Garrett? Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right. The other news
It's
I heard
real
out of
hard to trade.
Cleveland, what's that?
Unless it's a diva wide receiver, you don't see players of that caliber traded.
Yeah, I agree. And also there was, I guess the Browns are abandoning plans to try to redo or update their current stadium. They're looking to do a dome stadium. So
Good for
I
them.
just read that this morning. So I don't know. That's
Wait,
stuff.
I thought I read that was the Bengals, the city of
No,
Cincinnati.
somebody was talking about putting a roof on our stadium. If you've ever
Yeah,
looked at Paul Brown Stadium, I don't know how there would have to be such a major, it doesn't lend itself to just throwing a roof.
right,
So
right.
that to me was just something stupid somebody posted. So,
Yeah.
but all right, well, let's jump. Anybody have any other news? I'm looking at the injury report. They didn't give us they haven't given us today's who's practiced or not, but we only have four people listed anyway.
Yeah, and
That was
theirs is,
really
I mean,
good.
theirs is always really long. It's long once again. We expect Nick Chubb back, but that's at the expense of Ford, who didn't practice
Right.
yesterday. Foreman might not be healthy. And obviously, Garrett's been on the injury report all year. I don't think he's missed a game yet. So I expect him to be in there. Um, Judge Will is back on the injury report, who's been there all year. Limited yesterday. Denzel Ward probably is gonna be fine. So
What
as far
about
as the
Delpit? Greg Delpit.
Delpit, he was limited with the so we won't know Delpit until Friday because he's in
Okay.
concussion. But everyone else important was limited yesterday for Cleveland,
Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll obviously find out more today. I think
And I
the
think they're
less
going to be conservative with Chubb. I don't think they're not setting him in there to carry the ball 25 times.
There's
correct.
no
So
doubt that he's on a snap count.
Yeah.
And like Jake said, Ford, I don't expect to play. Foreman's a maybe. And then I think it's Pierre Strong is next in line.
yeah,
Right.
and they've shuffled their offensive line all year. Um, Wills has been awful when he's been out there. Conklin just came back. He was terrible the last 2 weeks. They have the center is hurt. Heller, their best guard, is on IR. They're a mess. This is the worst offense in the league by far, and they just got worse after trading Amari Cooper.
And all this
That's
is like
the lay of the
we haven't
land.
even gotten into. We'll talk about it in the good, but we haven't even gotten into Deshaun Watson numbers. I
Oh,
think the Browns secretly wished that last lawsuit would have gone a little more, and he hadn't settled it
100%.
because they would have loved to get out of this contract. It was somehow, some way. So I got to think
Yeah,
secretly behind the scenes they were hoping that it steamrolled into something big, and because that contract's just horrible. The NFL, I read an article today that the NFL is not going to bail them out because behind the scenes, everybody was really pissed at that they gave Watson that kind of contract.
Yeah,
So
with all that guaranteed money. And you know what? That reminds me, Mark. I don't know if it's news, but all Bengals fans know that Deshaun's agent, I forgot the guy's name, is the one that is a huge proponent of guaranteed money. He has represented T all along, and one of the main reasons T hasn't signed is the guaranteed money. Based on some Twitter reports, it appears as if T has left that agent and is now with CAA, who is Joe Burrow's agent. So
Yeah.
is that good news? Is there a chance
I
of
don't know
signing
if that
T?
was I don't know if that was debunked. I think I saw something yesterday where that might have not been true,
well, I'd like
but I
it to
don't.
be true
CAA
because
posted it. That's what was interesting is CAA posted it.
yeah, I would love it to be true because Jake brought up something. I don't know if it was the last show, or I think it was the last show. We were talking about T making all those great catches, and he was saying, let's pay both of them and not pay the guys on the defense. We're not going to extend
Yeah.
Dax Hill. We're not going to, and that would be amazing if we could somehow lock down Chase and T long term.
Well, that was what I
I go
mentioned.
back. I go back to my plan. Put them in a room. You got
Yeah,
$250 million and 100 of it guaranteed. You guys figure it out.
right.
Well, look, that was one of the points I made on Sunday was the fact that they don't have any really key players on defense that they need
Mhm.
to extend for, top of the market, even 80 percentile of the market, that they need to extend any time soon. So that gives them a great excuse to, use the cap availability on Jamar and T, which they could have done anyways. Now
Right.
you have more of a reason to, um, everyone's out there saying they can't afford both. They've always been able to afford both, but now
Correct.
they should. As far as T goes, he has always been represented by CAA for his marketing representation. This is from a league source. CAA has been his marketing representation firm since he entered in 2020. He is still represented by Mulugeta, I think is how you pronounce his
That's his
name,
name. Athletes first.
who's athletes first, who's Watson's guy as well. So he's still with the same agent, but he's with the CAA for like marketing purposes. I guess that's a thing now.
All right. Okay.
Hey, Jake, back to the point you were just making. Don't Trey and BJ come up pretty soon? Don't they need to be extended?
Yeah, Trey's gonna get, Trey asked for a trade in the offseason. I believe he's
Right.
up for an extension this offseason. BJ is not top market money. Trey will probably be, but again, like you see what the Chiefs are doing and the Bills are doing. The Bills, are gonna have a lot of guys to pay. There's plenty of teams out there that have paid 3 to 4 stars. Look at what the Niners have done with Debo and Kittle and Bosa. They're going to extend Purdy. I don't think they should, but they're going to extend Purdy. It's the Bengals are able to do it. It's just a matter of if they want to. I've been saying this for years. They can. You don't
Okay.
have to let good players walk because of the cap. You can find ways to
100%.
maneuver it. It's real and it exists. There's always the expense of other players, but there is never a definitive reason being the cap for
Right.
for letting a star player walk.
And the Bengals are the worst in the league about not only the guaranteed money on new contracts, but also what is it, converting annual salary to signing
Restructuring.
restructure.
It's reassigning guaranteed salary and converting that into a signing bonus where you don't have to where you would basically extend the life of the contract, more or less.
Right.
Right.
So, finishing up on the Bengals injury report, there's only 4 players listed, and DJ
That's
Ivy
great.
was limited practice. Everybody else was full practice yesterday. So
Yep.
we're going into this game as healthy as we've been in a long time.
I was reading something, and this wasn't a Bengals guy by any means. It was more so just a guy who talks a lot of football and analyzes it. And he has a big respect for Lou. And what he said was the fact that the Bengals haven't been able to have a full rotation of guys in and out on the defensive line all year has affected the whole defense. And he basically says that Lou, with a full rotation of defensive line, will benefit everybody. And the fact that the Bengals are able to now have that rotation, they're going to get better as the year goes on defense. It's not by any means a super talented group, but for years, Lou has been able to get more with less out of that unit.
Right.
There's no reason to think that he still can't, now that everybody's healthy.
Right. Well, I had said a couple of shows back that the reason our secondary was struggling was because we have our inability to stop the run. not having those bodies in the middle. So getting them back, we've seen the difference the last couple of weeks. So
2 weeks in a row.
yeah,
Like
there
we
you go.
said, did a good job on Henry and did a pretty solid, actually a really good job on the two guys on the Giants, Tracy and whoever else got carries them. I forgot Eric Gray the other
Yeah.
night.
So, well, let's jump in. We always do what we like, what we don't like. We always start with the negative first. There's the obvious Burrow's 1-5 against them. I predicted last year that he would break his streak, and we went into Cleveland and lost 24-3. But that was a different Browns defense. We'll get into that. When we're talking about the good. Myles Garrett's always an issue. Hopefully they've watched the video and he's not going to do that little leapfrog blocking field goals. That was the only thing that kept the Browns them remotely in the game coming out of the locker room at halftime was that blocked field goal. And they do have a good secondary. I mean, they still have a top 10 passing defense, at least statistically. So, and they're going to be up for this game. So that's everything that I have in terms of the bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a good team. Defense is good, and for whatever reason, they bring out the best. We bring out the best in them. It's a horrible record. I still am traumatized by the Halloween Monday night game a couple years ago.
Oh,
Traumatized by, I think it was either the year before or the year after, when Browns march down the field, take a 7-0 lead, and the Bengals march down even quicker, and Burrow throws the pick and go at the goal line. We're down 14-0, and that game was over.
right. That changed the whole game. We were going in for the tying score, and it's
tie the
just,
game. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Look, is there anything to that? I'm a huge proponent of absolutely not. It's not. It's a rivalry, and crazy things happen in the rivalry. Browns have yet to score 20 points this year. And not to tease a prediction, but I'm gonna freaking guarantee they're scoring 20 points this week.
So
are we gonna score more? I'll save that for my prediction.
Yeah. But and we'll talk about the Browns offense and we're talking about the good because that really kind of falls into, good for us in terms of what they've done. Anybody else have anything negative they want to put out there or,
No, I mean, this is the biggest spread either side with Burrow playing in this game since 2020. This is a bigger spread. The Bengals are favored by more in this game than what the Browns were favored at home in Burrow's second career game. And that was a team that made playoffs that year. This is the big, the Browns suck. They're a really, really fundamentally bad football team that just lost their best offensive player. Their coverage grades have been really bad this year. Ward, Delpit, Newsome have all underwhelmed. Zach said, Zach did his little thing. He was hyping up the other team yesterday. He said they have 3-star players, one on each level of the defense, talking about obviously Ward and Garrett and Koromoa, the linebacker, which isn't false, but those guys haven't really done much this year. I mean, Myles Garrett's made up 75% of their pass rush, which means their pass rush is not good because they've been so good in past years because they've had Myles Garrett plus other dudes. This year they really don't have other dudes. And I think that's affected the coverage unit as well. This is not the Browns defense of the last 3 years. Jim Schwartz, I believe he's still there.
No, he is.
Yeah.
Has
sorry.
They've taken a big step back, and obviously we know the struggles offensively. This is, why the 2-4 Bengals are laying a touchdown and a half on the road, in this spot.
Right. No.
Yeah.
And that transitions really well. We'll talk about the Browns offense. Let's transition to the good.
Mark, hang on one second. Before you go to the offense, I want a little bit on the defense. Jake, do they move Garrett around, or are we going to see Garrett against Brown all day long?
He'll move around.
So will they, now that we've got a weapon and like an Eric All on a blocking standpoint, will All follow Garrett and be like secondary help to either Mims or Brown wherever Garrett's lined up? Is that something that an offense can do and would do?
Well, Myles Garrett lines up on the inside as well. He lines up basically as like an outside linebacker, and he goes inside too. So there's going to be a lot of doubles from left tackle, left guard, and right tackle, right guard, more so than left tackle and tight end. But I like that's the problem is like when he is outside, yeah, you can chip with the tight end and have the running back on the other side. But there's not really anybody else that you're sweating on this defensive line. I mean, Jock is second in pressures on this team with 10. Myles Garrett has 30. Um,
He's- So are you
this
concerned that they could see the blueprint of what the Giants did the other night and storm Garrett up the middle like they did with Banks and Lawrence on Monday night?
no, because the Browns don't have Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence.
Right. And
They don't have anybody that can get interior pressure like Dexter Lawrence.
and Myles Garrett hasn't been playing healthy a lot of this
Yeah,
season.
he's been banged up all year. I mean, he's
So
playing with the foot thing all
I
year.
would argue that Burns right now is playing better ball because he's healthier. What we saw from Burns is probably more than we're going to face with Myles Garrett given his health.
Yeah, I
But
mean, Myles is still, he's still top 10 in the league in pressures. He has 4 sacks. He's a threat who will need to be paid attention to. But yeah, he's not, he has not been Bosa, Chris Jones-esque this year. And
right.
Will Anderson's arguably been better than him.
No. So, all right, we ready to go to the good?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, the first thing I have here is well, I have not the Browns defense of last year. We just covered that. But Watson's been terrible. I mean, against 2 lesser defenses, and I'm not saying that our defense has been good because I've got us as bottom tier, but against 2 lesser defenses in Las Vegas and Jacksonville, he only managed 1 touchdown in each game. So this isn't and we've watched Watson. I mean, you look back now at all the Houston footage and you think like DeAndre Hopkins was the reason he looked good. I mean, all the miraculous catches that Hopkins made. Really, Watson has not been able to translate that over, whether it be scheme, whether it be the 2 years off with the whole scandal, whatever it is, he's not the same player. So, which is
No,
why
it's been all year.
it's crazy.
It's the weirdest thing is what is this? Is this 3rd year in Cleveland or second?
This is his second full season.
Full
He came
season,
back
but
mid-season.
yeah, he played
came
like the
back
last 4
mid-season.
games of the year
And
last
year,
his
but
first season.
it's everybody. It's unbelievable. All of last year, it's give it time, let him get in sync, let him get back on the flow. Like you said, he took 2 years off. He's even worse this year, and it's unbelievable. And I think I saw statistically he's not even a top 32 rank. Like there's backups that have better numbers than him, and it's very interesting to read. They've got Jameis Winston, and if you're a Browns fan, you're clamoring for Jameis Winston in the game. And as a Bengals fan, I'm scared they put in Jameis Winston. Huh?
He's not. They're playing Winston does not help anybody because they're stuck with Watson for 3 more years.
No, but and that's where I'm going. No, hang on. I know. And that's where I'm going. My point is it feels like, and there's rumblings that the ownership, they have no out on Watson because it's 2 more years after this, might even be a 3rd. I don't even know. And they have no out, and they can't cut him. The dead money is ridiculous. They've made their bed. They're lying in it. And the decision on who to play at quarterback has come from upstairs. And Stefanski is using, giving the company line that he's being fed upstairs that Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win when it sure doesn't seem like he does.
No, I would be. My big concern was that they were going to switch. We weren't going to get Watson this week. They were going to try to, pump some life into the offense. And I was very happy to hear that Watson was still starting. So
here's a stat for you
right
guys.
There with Devin on that one.
Here's a stat for you guys that I found. So the Browns' 33.3% offensive success rate is the lowest success rate of any team through weeks 1 through 6, the first 6 weeks since the turn of the century. They've been the worst offense from a down-to-down perspective of any team through the first 6 weeks since 2000.
Wow. No, and I saw Watson's his quarterback ratings like in the 30s. I mean, it's a
he's also been the worst Browns quarterback through the first 6 weeks of any Browns quarterback since 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw you tweeted that, and go back to the guys they've had in the last.
I mean, any Browns quarterback.
We're talking like Deshaun Kaiser type guys.
Yeah.
Oh, worse than that.
So Brady Quinn. So
there's a fun one. Mark, I don't know if we get Browns fans in here like we get Steelers and Ravens, but Browns fans, go put in some of your favorite Browns quarterbacks in the last 20 years.
Do you know what I get? You know what I get a lot of joy from is that I watch Baker Mayfield's success in Tampa Bay. And that makes me feel really good because it's like everything they did drafting Johnny Manziel and it's like you had Baker Mayfield, so he was a late bloomer and you ran him out of town, and now you're looking at him and he's a very viable quarterback. He's found a good home, and as a Browns fan, you just have to be pulling your hair out watching that. I mean,
Yeah.
it drives you nuts. Jimmy Haslam is a very interesting owner. Do you know that the year Johnny Manziel came out in the draft, he paid a consulting firm $500,000 to write a report to tell him who he should draft. And the report came back and it said, oh, you need to draft Teddy Bridgewater. And they went ahead and drafted Johnny Manziel. Completely disregarded the report. So, you just can't figure it out. So, like I said, from a Browns fan, I feel bad for him, but then I
don't.
But then I
I
don't. So,
screw him.
all right. Well, let's I have Jay Spread. We can go on all day about why the Bengals should win this game, and they should win this game. We can just jump right into predictions because I think we're all going to be kind of along the same lines this week. So
let's do it.
all
And
right.
we got to go same order because we broke a losing streak and it was me first last time. So
Okay,
I'm
go
going
for it.
first. I got a stat here that I'm going to pull up. Uh-oh, I lost it. Hang on. This is just bad TV here. So Joe Burrow is apparently the king of week 7. 4 years ago, 35 of 47, 406, 3 TDs. 3 years ago, 23 of 38, 416, 3 TDs. 2 years ago, 34 of 42, 481, 3 TDs. Last year, 28 of 32, 283, 3 TDs. That's all in game 7 of the season. We're in game 7. It means nothing, but it's a fun stat.
Yeah.
The Browns scare me to death. Playing in Cleveland scares me to death because as a Bengals fan, the saying is, why can't we have nice things? It's a scary game. We let them hang around. Sloppy game, turnovers. I wore my Evan McPherson jersey because he's kicking a game winner. Bengals win 23-21.
Okay. Wow, you've got it close. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who went second last time?
I hope you guys remember.
We keep the same order.
I think it was Jake. I don't know. Might
All
have
right,
been Jake.
I also think it was me. 23-17 Bengals, right on the number.
Yeah, and I had, it's funny, we all have the same. I had 23-16. I thought it would be a very ugly, the over-under on the game's 43. They don't have high, and it's not because they don't think we're not going to get our 2 or 3 touchdowns. It's because they're concerned whether the Browns are going to get there, even with our defense, because we did show signs of coming back, last week against the Giants. So, all right, we all have the Bengals winning this game. And Jake, what do you got? I know you've got a run. What do you got on terms of the a couple college picks for us?
Yeah, I'll roll with 2 numbers that are still out there. Let's go Arizona -3 at home against Colorado, and then Maryland +7.5 at home against USC.
There you go. Okay. So
Arizona rolling out their old retro helmets for homecoming, the helmets they wore when I was a student.
All right.
Saw that this morning.
I got no love of Colorado, so let's see Arizona win this one. So
Bear down and Who Dey.
So
Go Yankees.
Go Dodgers.
Go. Hey, Dodgers were you know what?
If anybody wants more entertainment, as entertaining as this show is, Jake and I are rabid in the playoffs. If we get lucky, if we both get lucky and our teams make it, and it's Dodgers, Yankees in the World Series, we will be setting up a computer with a Zoom feed. And it'll be so entertaining. We could charge tickets, but we're charged for pay-per-view, but we're not going to charge. We're going to set up a live feed of us watching Dodgers, Yankees in the World Series together if it happens.
Pay-per-view. That's ambitious.
Now we'll do it for free.
There you go.
So we got a little work to do. Maybe by Sunday night we'll have something to talk about in the World Series, but not yet.
Well, we're leaning towards that. It looks like it's heading that way. So
too early.
We'll see. It's too early. I don't like to hex it, but I got to tell you that junk home run in the 9th, it was over 7.5 was the over in the game last night. So the Dodgers are sitting there at 7-0. It doesn't look like the Mets are going to help me out at all. And that home run, I was like, oh, thank you. They got to 8
home run.
So, yep. So, well, that's the kind of stuff. Gambling is what keeps you watching a 7-0 baseball game in the 9th inning when you're rooting for something like that. So, that was a nice gift I got yesterday. So,
there you go.
Jake, remind everybody where they can find your stuff.
Yep. Jake Circus Pod on Spotify, and follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus.
Excellent. And please subscribe. If you don't subscribe, it's all we ask. Hit the thumbs up. Helps us out with the YouTube analytics. We will be here right after the Browns game on Sunday for your recap. So make sure you hit the bell so you know when the video goes up. And you guys going to make it this Sunday? I know Devin will. Jake, you going to be
I'm
available?
fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Good. All right. So maybe we'll have another full house again. You never know. So that was fun. People loved our last episode. So we got a lot of good comments on it. So so with
Awesome.
that, I'm going to say, "Hoo day, everybody," and enjoy
Hoo
the
day.
game. Take care.